cable dogs. I think I might have. Let me get out of there. Forgotten to turn off the other theme tune there. I had a little bit of goosebumps, but now it's time for goosebumps. Hello, everyone. Let's have a look. It's hard to go through all of the chat because Synth has taken it over with all of his various dogs. The tune that plays during the countdown, I will find the name for you and put it in the Discord. It is by an artist called Anonymous 420, I think, which seems suitable. It's the same person who does the theme tune for the show, and they do some very cool, weird stuff that I just really like the sound of. It sounded very multiversey, so I took a couple of their tunes and stuck it over the top. But now, yeah, it is time for goosebumps. So let's get some time for goosebumps. Well, I take a sip of my coffee. That's what I do.
It's time for goosebumps. It's time to get scared.
Oh, yeah. Come on.
It's time for goosebumps. It's time to get scared. I love my going multiverse streams. Goosebumps, 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 goosebumps. Scary houses, scary people, dolls, mummies, vampires, wolves, wolverines, vampires, scary monsters, aliens, storms, ugly people, and nerds. It's time for goosebumps.
What's up, everybody? It's time for goosebumps. It is time for goosebumps. That's it. I promise that is the last bit of filler that I have. I'm gonna do stuff now. I'm gonna be in charge of my own show. Welcome everybody. Welcome Craig. Nice to have you here. Getting baked, watching some multiverse. Sheeda, skiving off work. I'm gonna assume. Synth, the dog, the multi-dog, and Egg. The egg cooker. Eggs, eating eggs. What? And Seth. Seth is here as well. What's up, Seth? Woof woof. Should I think that there is a touch of Arsenio about the proceedings here. This is a crew. This is the ultimate crew. I'm sure I've missed some. Another TV viewer, are you out there? Stream Elements. Let's hear it for Stream Elements. Big shout out to Stream Elements. Do we have a shout out command? I know a lot of streamers have it. I don't know if it's a generic thing that exists or whether we have to add it. Yeah, some Arsenio type beats going on. I did play the Goosebumps theme again. Would you like to hear it again? Because that would kill about 2 minutes of show for me. It's cool. Imagine if there was a guy, and imagine if that guy was me, that treated streaming as a chore. I was thinking about that earlier when I was thinking about the start of this show and how I make you sit through about 7 minutes of things that aren't me before I do it. I still call it an hour-long show, but at least 10 minutes of the show are me making you listen to songs that I didn't make and I'm not doing anything too live, just clicking play on. And it made me think about, why do I do this? I like streaming. Streaming is not something I have to do. I really enjoy it. But then I started thinking about a guy. What if there was a guy who just had to do this? One day this will just be a job, right? That you don't want to get out of bed to come and stream. And that is the scariest goosebump of all. Quick cut to a close up. We are going to be writing more. What's happened to my Scrivener? Have I moved my Scrivener, perhaps? So it's looking a bit weird today, isn't it? Looking a bit unfulfilled. If that makes any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Maybe what have I done? Who knows? Maybe I'll do that. Who knows? And more importantly, who cares? It doesn't make any difference because I can just do this. Just do this. That's all you need to see of it. You don't need to see the bar. Maybe that's what I had before. I had the bar a bit more hidden. You don't need to see the bar. It's just ruining the illusion that this is a real screen when you can see stuff coming out. Like babysitting. Yeah, exactly. This is a bit like babysitting, except that I am also kind of the baby. Like a lot of the flashy lights and the sounds are for me. I don't need to have an opening credits Twitch streams don't typically have opening credits or closing credits or videos in between or songs, post credits, intro songs. But I like to make them and then I like to watch them afterwards. I like to make a video and then watch that video on repeat because I'm amazed that a video exists, basically. It doesn't even have to be that good of a video. You know, when I made that, my first attempt at doing an After Effects when I made the Batman Myco video, I mean, that went really badly. Like the masking in that is terrible. And it took me a really long time to get any of it done. And not even that much even happened in it. But I still watched that about 20 times immediately preceding, succeeding me having produced it. I just wanted to watch it. What if I was a lovely geezer but violent man? I am. I'm a lovely geezer. I'm a violent man. And that's just something you should know about me. That's part of my brand. Everybody knows this about me. Did a Michael Caine in the Discord the other day. Michael Caine seems like, a lovely geezer but a violent man, in my opinion. He has that vibe. I think in real life, he's probably not like that at all. I think in real life he's actually quite right wing. He's not that lovely of a geezer at all on the scale of geezers, not by our metric. Was he mean? He was mean to the Muppets, but he did learn a lesson though. But apparently he didn't carry that lesson through to his real life. He still thinks that that teens on the street need to be conscripted into national service, and that we should be shutting down youth centres and making him pay less tax. I think those are his main things. He's one of those British celebrities who is obsessed with Britain for the British, like that sort of rhetoric. Even though I believe he lives out somewhere in Spain or the Caribbean. He's one of those guys, Switzerland. He's one of those sort of Sean Connery types who's super patriotic in everything apart from wanting anything to do with the country or contributing to the country in any way. Yeah, I know. Michael Caine used to be. He's one of those guys like Clint Eastwood who used to be like, oh yeah, he's like this old school guy, but he's actually pretty progressive. He's actually pretty cool. He's kind of like, center left. And then something happened. Something clicked in their brains. Eastwood obviously went much more public with his crazy Facebook brain, but they just both snapped. They got too old and too rich. Yeah, Clint Eastwood. Does anyone else remember when Clint Eastwood was held up as a guy who was like, he's on the right side of things? He seems like he wouldn't be because he's like a tough guy in the films, but he's actually pretty cool. And then it turned out that he was a Charlton Heston guy. In fact, Charlton Heston, he was the same way. He used to be like obviously, like within the world of mainstream American politics, he was on the left, which is still, center at best. But he used to be like a Democrat guy. And Reagan did too. So many. Something happens. It's money and age, and it's just crazy. It just happens. It's one of those things that older people always tell you is going to happen too. They're like, oh, you'll see when you get a little older and you have a little more of your own money, you'll become conservative, and you always think it won't happen to you, but then it happens to everyone in Hollywood. And you think, well, I'm just like the guys in Hollywood. Could it happen to me? Surely not. Now, Hollywood, or Hollyweird, as I like to call it, which is it's kind of a Goosebumps thing. It's a mic thing. I don't mind if you don't get it. You don't get it. It's fine. But I like to call it Hollyweird on account of it. I mean, it's just bonkers. It is bonkers. Some of the stuff they're doing, some of the stuff they're getting away with, some of the stuff they're saying. And they should stick to acting, is the other thing. They should all stick to acting. Yeah, you can't, there is no delay on this. There is no censorship. It started off like I was going to do a slam poem, and then I thought, it never really goes well for me when I try and do that sort of improv on it. My mind suddenly flashed back. I had a That's So Raven like whoosh into my eye of doing the newspaper headlines on Late Mike, and I was like, oh, actually, coming up with things that people want to hear off the cuff. Turns out it's tough. I didn't want to attempt it anymore. It's better not to try sometimes than to try and fail. Is the message that I want to get across with my art, my creative process. No, I didn't see the Gary Oldman thing. Gary Oldman's another guy who is apparently not that cool. You'd think he'd be cool. He was friends with Bowie, and he's like an actor and a regular guy. But apparently he's I don't know. I mean, I don't know this for sure. I did go to school with his son, and that made me think quite badly of him. The son that he no, I'm not gonna. I don't like to gossip. I don't like to gossip, so I'm not gonna gossip. But I've heard some things. About Gary Oldman. Yeah, his son is called Gary Youngman. Because as we all know, the existence of Gary Oldman does naturally suppose the existence of Gary Youngman. John Cleese, yeah, John Clean, absolutely. He was from that. Yeah, I did say Clean synth before you point that out. He was one of those guys too. Like all the alt comics, basically, all the English alt comics, especially all the British guys, bar like one or two, bar maybe like I don't know, Alexi Sale, like someone like that. All of the alt comics that were sticking it to the system in the 70s and the 80s, they've all turned Tory now. That guy from Blur, he was the cool pop star in the 90s, and then he became like ironically cool because he owned a dairy farm. He started making cheese, and it was like, oh look, guy from Blur is making cheese. Isn't that weird? Isn't that kind of kooky as he's getting older? And then it turns out he's like best friends with David Cameron and hangs out with all that set in a Chipping Norton, which is a place that is exactly like the name sounds. It's full of exactly the sort of older, middle-aged to elderly Tories that you would think it would be. Yes, to answer your questions, Blur and friends with David Cameron, correct. Yeah, the Blur guy milking. That's a good impression of the Blur guy. Although I think that was probably Damon who did the woohoo on that song, and this is this is Alex. I think I'm thinking of. Did Trent Reznor make wine? What are Trent Reznor's politics? Let's guess. I think he's an objectivist. I think Reznor is like a libertarian, Randian, maybe. Kind of seems like he would have that. He would be a bootstraps guy. Don't know for sure, but I think I imagine he's a guy who did the same sort of thing. Is he? Is he cool? I mean, that's good. But you find it with a lot of those guys, the shock jocks. I wouldn't be surprised if Marilyn Manson was like a country club Trump guy in his private life. Oh, is he genuinely principled? He didn't like grow out of it as a lot of these guys think they have to. Bob Mortimer, yeah, I think Bob Mortimer is still cool. I don't know that he's probably not on the front lines of anything super lefty, super progressive, but I imagine he's probably all right. Like he's probably not on the right. I think yeah, at worst he's probably a centrist who doesn't think too much about stuff, which is still not cool. You still got to use your voice, haven't you? You still got to use your voice, however big, however small. I think you might be the only American who has any idea who Bob Mortimer is. Yeah, I don't think, even though he's been a staple over here, I don't think he's ever even attempted to break America. Yeah, is that what we're doing today? I feel like today is a day where I had a plan and now we've launched into something that seemed more fruitful. I don't know. Somebody jump on Stream Elements, start a poll. What are we going to do today? We're going to do some goosebumps, or are we going to start talking about every single celebrity? Give me a celebrity, and I think I will tell you. I'll tell you who they are. I'll tell you who they really are. I can see it. We've talked about this in the past. I'm a good judge of celebrity character. I don't think I've ever been taken by surprise with a scandal. Frankie Boyle. Frankie Boyle's not hard to guess. He's extremely openly political. He's very much on the right side, which is weird because he got his start. He did like the opposite. He got his start as someone who was ostensibly on the left, like he was on those sort of comedy panel shows where he's obviously not giving like the conservative view of stuff, but his brand of comedy was built around shock, like using slurs, like ableist stuff, the kind of like acceptable bigotry. He'd make fun of disabilities, and like he was all like, "Oh, it's dark humor." That's my Frankie Boyle impression. Yeah, he was like the original British dirtbag left. He's very much that sort of like. Uh, I mean, I don't really know much about Chapo. I remember some of them before they were famous, and they were just like something awful goons who would make like questionable sort of racist jokes on Twitter, and then it kind of surprised me how they're famous for something else now. But from what I hear, their reputation is still kind of the same, right? They still think it's cool, and it's kind of like I know. I even not being involved in the world of like Chapo fan stuff, I already know that I'm gonna make somebody upset by saying that I don't think they're particularly cool. I'm just like, yeah, the cancelable left. I just think like I said, I remember I followed one of them for a brief time in like 2012 on Twitter on one of their old accounts, because they obviously used to get regularly banned for like harassment and breaking TOS and that kind of like genuinely getting cancelled. And I stopped after a while because it was just kind of this weird like fetishism of Middle Eastern politics, and like I say, just thinking it's very cool to use slurs in like a casual, ironic way, and just like not at all for me, not at all my sort of thing. It wasn't what I think I followed them because they made some funny jokes about The Sopranos, and I love The Sopranos and I love funny jokes. And I thought, oh, okay, cool. And then I quickly clicked that unfollow button. And yeah, there is also something very distasteful about these guys who, from what I hear, started off okay in life anyway, which not to say that's necessarily a bad thing if you're going to then dedicate the rest of your life to being good. I mean, Orwell, obviously he has cancelable things in his life as well, but he did some cool stuff. He started off very rich, and he still dedicated his life to a form of socialism, at least. Class traitorship is important. It is a good thing. If rich people, if members of the bourgeoisie want to like reject their status, reject their riches, put their money into good causes, that is a good thing. I don't think it's quite the same to start off to grow up very rich and then become extremely rich by talking about people who aren't. And I don't know. Maybe they do other stuff, but they still seem very much locked into the system. It's such a weird thing to use the aesthetics of like the proletariat, of revolution, to just do like to just like speak up for the status quo still, essentially. It's like it's not I mean, it's just not leftist enough for me. It's not far left enough for me. I'm sorry, but I'm not into it. I don't think it's I don't think slurs are funny, and I don't think that masquerading as a communist revolutionary while becoming a millionaire is cool either. And that's my opinion. Allegedly parody. That's my opinion that I can't get yelled at for. Sorry to everyone who I made uncomfortable. I don't know if you've got any Chapo heads in the community. Sorry if I've just cancelled your favorite. Sorry if I've just pointed out that your faves are problematic AF. But that's just my opinion, and that's my opinion. David and Victoria Beckham. I don't. That's tricky. Yeah. Look, it's like I said. You got to use your platform. I don't care how small my voice might be. I'm not cool with it. I don't make excuses for these things. All right. I'm not going to sweep it under the rug. There have been people within our wider community who I have just stopped interacting with, who I have shut out of my life because I don't think they're cool enough, because I've seen them say things and do things that I don't like, I don't agree with, and I don't care if we have mutual friends online. They are not a part of my life anymore. I just erased them from my mind, from my Discord, from my Twitter. Everyone is muted or unfollowed or blocked. I don't care who I hurt in the process. Okay, you cannot make an omelette without cracking a few heads. The Beckhams, I think they're probably center right. I think, I don't know. I mean, I imagine, I don't know for sure. I haven't really followed them much since the late 90s, early 2000s, when they were, the tabloid darlings. But I think that they probably do a lot of stuff for charity, but then everyone does. I mean, it's a tax write-off. I do my own taxes. I know that it's a good thing to do a lot of charity stuff. I know how it works. The richer you are, the more you can give, the less you pay. It all kind of works out in the end. It's a nice little grift, isn't it? Amazon, Jeff Bezos was trying to cancel me, just took my face off camera just for a moment. But I imagine that the Beckhams probably don't give as much to worthy causes as they could. I think they are probably still disgustingly rich. I think anyone who is still rich, basically, anyone who has so much money, and I don't necessarily begrudge people who have a lot of money living in some sort of luxury. Like, you can add comfort to your life when you become rich. I don't think that's like such a terrible thing. I don't think that you have to constantly give away absolutely everything that you have necessarily. Obviously, in an ideal world, it would be distributed more evenly. But in the world that we have, it's cool to do a lot, and not necessarily make yourself destitute in the process, maybe. But I think that they have an excess of wealth, as most millionaires do, as most rich people do. That suggests to me they are not giving enough. They could give more, they could do more. I don't know that either of them would ever speak on important issues. What do the Beckhams think about Palestine? Huh? Will they ever say? No. They haven't even done the cool Paul McCartney thing of at least pretending like you're not gonna just give your kids a career. Like, one of them is doing like photo shoots, like is like a photographer for big magazines. Started at the age of like 15 doing shit like that because they're a Beckham. The McCartneys obviously did the same thing. McCartney's kids have these huge careers, fashion careers, and the like. Obviously, still because they're McCartneys, like because of the connections. But at least there was some sort of suggestion that he didn't want them to have just a super easy life. Doesn't mean you need to make your kids suffer, but I think you should teach your kids some extra values. And I think Paul McCartney probably tried a little harder than the Beckhams did. Yeah, definitely. I think that the Beckhams could. I think the Beckhams could do a lot more for humanity, for the community, and still have a lot to spend on toys. Like, even with a lot less than they have now, I think they could do it. Eurodov, you're not muted on Twitter. I tweeted at you this morning. All right, I replied you this morning, so I'm seeing you in my feed. You're not one of them, okay? But you're probably friends with one of them. And if I find that out, you're gone, okay? You're gone. You chose your side, all right? And you chose them. That's how it is, okay? Salting the earth. I'm burning my bridges. I am all or nothing. There is no compromise in the multiverse. Yeah, if you are friends with the Beckhams, you're done, all right? You and me, okay? You're a nice guy. You're a nice guy, okay? But professionally, we're done, okay? You're done. Do I want to click it? I'm going to have to click that afterwards and just, please don't gossip about me if that's what that is. Because if I click it, I lose the chat because I haven't figured out how not to do that yet. Somebody sum that link up for me. I'm not going to click it. Said it's damning. Is it the Beckhams? Is it the Beckhams? What are you enjoying, Eurido? Oh, hot dog. What is it? 2 hot dogs, 1 bun? You bouge. Thank you. Thanks for the hot dog. I'm assuming you're buying that for me. Anyway, just assuming you are. You know what I saw on Twitch the other day? Jason Mewes. I don't know what his politics are. I imagine he probably doesn't get involved in politics that much. But it was so funny. He was playing Fortnite on a team with like a 12-year-old for 100 viewers. And it just... celebrity culture nowadays blows my mind. It is so weird that a guy who I used to like love 20 years ago in movies, I would never have dreamed in like 2001 watching Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back on VHS on repeat because I thought it was the funniest shit of all time. I would never have dreamt that I would ever come into any sort of contact with him. And now you can just like chat with him on the internet while he plays a kid's game really badly for for no reason. Why is he doing it? I didn't even see people donating a bunch of bits to it. So even if he needs the money now, he wasn't getting it from Twitch streaming. It was just so funny. It was sad. I mean, not sad because it's the same thing I'm doing right now, except that I feel like if I had had his career, I might not feel like this would be my creative venue. I might feel like there were other options for me. Uh, so yeah, I finished on the Beckhams. Jason Statham, that's a tough one. I don't know. He's another Brit who's gone out of Britain, right? Because I think he probably lives in America now. I imagine he lives in LA now. Although actually, I think all of his much younger model girlfriends have been British, right? He was with Rosie Huntington Whiteley for a long time, and I don't know if they still are, but she's English, isn't she? She's an English model. So maybe he doesn't. Maybe he hasn't gone Hollywood, even though he just does Hollywood stuff. I don't think I've ever heard him talk about politics. I'll tell you the things I know about Jason Statham. He used to be an Olympic level diver. He qualified for the England team at one point, but I don't think he ever actually made it to the Olympics for whatever reason. I don't know if it was an injury or something, but that's just the thing that I always thought was so cool about him. That's how he got started somehow. I don't know how that works, how that transitions into a film career. But I guess his debut was the same as Vinnie Jones's debut, and he started off in football. So I guess Guy Ritchie was just leafing through a book about artists, like athletes who wanted to be artists, and he found these guys and he put them all in it. I don't know because he obviously his persona is like a rough and tumble kind of Cockney guy. I don't know how much of that is true. I don't know where he's actually from. I don't think I've ever heard him talk outside of a character. So it could just be a thing he's playing up. It could be like I don't know, like a Lily Allen thing, where the character that they play is this kind of Cockney wise guy. But yeah, Alan Ford, just like an Alan Ford. Alan Ford is the real deal, though. I think, right? No, I think that's true. I think a lot of those guys are the real deal. Um, there's the governor in Lock, Stock, and he's the real deal. He's an ex boxer. He used to run the streets, I believe. And there's a lot of there's a lot of real guys, but they're mixed in with guys like Sting, who are like privately educated British reggae singers trying to play Cockney hard guys. It's such a weird mix, Guy Ritchie. And Guy Ritchie himself is also he went to a private boarding school. He's like completely the opposite of the world that he's in love with, that he's obsessed with. He didn't grow up anywhere near it. He's never met a guy like that in real life until he started casting them in his films. So it's just really funny. Obviously, the class system in Britain is impossible to explain to people outside. Really, you just got to know that they're a hard guy. There are geezers, right? There are nutters, yeah, and there's toffs, okay, and that's the two type of persons that you get in England. That's how it works. That's an education for you all. I'm of course, I'm a lovely geezer, but I'm also a violent man. Yeah, geezers and toughs. That's right. It's toff, short for toffee nose, obviously. I don't need to explain why that's the slang for it. It just, you know what it is. You know why it is. Geezers and toffs. That's what we call them. Gary Oldman would. I know you are, Sid. I know that you're a lovely geezer. Don't worry. I know you're a lovely geezer. Gary Oldman would absolutely hate Statham. Gary Oldman's the real deal in terms of he is genuinely a working class kid from the East End. I think he is, which is not a character that he's ever really played a lot of. He mostly plays sort of Americans, weird Europeans, kind of vaguely Chicagoan cop guys. But in real life, he is. I mean, I don't know, a tough guy, but he grew up on an estate, you know. Um, Chrissy Teigen, pro or anti? Oh no, Chrissy Teigen is she absolutely watches the royal weddings on a stream, on a live stream. She breaks out her china. She likes to think that she can have a conversation with the Queen. There is no way that Chrissy Teigen does not love the royal family. She is absolutely one of those who wishes America had a princess. She's there's no doubt in my mind. No doubt. Chrissy Teigen's another one. Chrissy Teigen is Chapo to me, basically. She's a real sort of hashtag resistance kind of celeb. No interest in leftist politics whatsoever, but thinks that somehow, despite agreeing with 100% of Republican politics, is not Republican in some way. I know. Look, I spent the past year on my couch with nothing to do but look at Twitter. Okay, and before that, look, I had back surgery when I was 16, and I laid in bed for 6 months reading celebrity gossip, and it's part of my bloodstream now. Okay, I just know about celebrities, even if I've never, except for musicians. I can't tell you much about musicians. I don't know. When people talk about, no, don't. I know what you're thinking, Sheila. I hate gossip. I didn't make the gossip. I just read about it so that I could tut at it all and say that's not right. That's simply not cricket. I would say. I'd say, well, that's not tickety boo. That's not okay. That is beyond the pale. Just Jared. Jared, no. Come on. Leave Lindsay Lohan alone, I would say. So she's dating Sam Ronson. That's okay. That's her right. Okay, let her explore in private. Okay? Sexuality is a spectrum. It's none of our business. Let's not insert ourselves into the romantic relationship of Samantha Ronson and Lindsay Lohan. That's what I would say. I would love to put them on a tier list, but look, I've only got one thing loaded up on OBS, and it's Scrivener, which is look, it's like it's $44. Okay, it's $44. Dude, this isn't gossip. I'm not gossiping. I'm it's for educational purposes. I'm making you aware of gossip that exists, but it's not. I'm not producing the gossip. I'm not spreading the gossip. I'm saying you shouldn't gossip this. I would put it on an image though, but I've only got Scrivener up. I'm sorry, and I don't even know where to find a tier list. All right, I don't know what this website is that people use. I can open Photoshop, but I don't have a template. I don't have a template ready. Who else are we looking at? Who else are we asking about? Morrissey. You said Morrissey. Yeah, I wonder what Morrissey's politics are. I don't know if Morrissey's ever mentioned his politics before, has he? Morrissey is so upsetting, isn't it? Maybe it's just me as a sad indie Brit teen. It's really sad because obviously the Smiths are amazing. Like I love the Smiths. I still love the Smiths. I just have to pretend that it's only Johnny Marr who was responsible for all the good stuff. I just have to pretend that. Morrissey, I mean, how do you do that? That is the weirdest one. He's just like the alt comics of the 80s, like, because obviously came up in the same time, had the same thing. You would think anyone who writes the songs that the Smiths writes is going to only grow as a progressive activist, as a leftist, only going to become more in tune with the needs of the oppressed and the working class and the downtrodden, and start fighting for more and more justice. The older you get, the more involved you get with that sort of thing. And Morrissey, I don't know how it happens. How do you go so far wrong like Morrissey did? How do you go from making cool music for sad kids to becoming a guy who hates wheelchair-bound Asians and wraps themselves in a Union Jack. Like, what happens to your brain? This is what I was saying in the Disney blue check disease, right? Even before we started verifying people on the internet, it existed in an earlier form, in a prototypical form. Morrissey had the first blue check mark disease. He was patient zero, possibly, of that thing of just becoming famous and getting worms in your head, getting a worm inside your brain that tells you bad opinions and pulls on little bits of your neurons until you say them out loud. Skrillex. I don't know. Skrillex is probably like I don't get involved in politics kind of guy. I think Skrillex doesn't get involved, which obviously puts him on the right. That's just you don't pick a side, then you have automatically picked the worst side. You've automatically picked the side of the oppressor, and so Skrillex gets the wall. Skrillex goes to Gulag. Skrillex, I'm sorry. Nothing against you personally, really. I was never one of those guys who railed against bro step. I think Bangarang is a great tune. It's a tune, as we would say over here. But sorry, Skrillex. You're gone. You're dead. Why? Are you saying why am I killing Skrillex? Because Skrillex hasn't used his voice properly, Egg. Skrillex has not spoken up for the little guy. Right? Skrillex has a platform. Skrillex has a huge platform. Imagine if you were hearing free Palestine. That would be worthy. And he could do that. He could do that at every show. He could hover over the free Palestine button. Drop it at the perfect moment, and the crowd would go wild and they would be brainwashed. The sound waves, you could see it visibly hitting their head, and they're absorbing through osmosis the meaning behind the words. They would automatically understand the struggle of the Palestinian people and dedicate their lives to making it a better world. It would change the world and it would slap. And those are equally important things to consider. And I don't know why I'm having to say it when Skrillex is up there with the drop button. He could easily reprogram it. It's easy. I have a keyboard. I've used Output Arcade. I know you just drag and drop the sound clip onto the key. And then you press the key and it's going to say it. Exactly. He doesn't want to. He's scared to do it, or he just doesn't care. Okay. He's chosen his side. By not choosing a side, he's chosen his side. So I'm sorry. For that reason, Skrillex gets the wall. What are your thoughts on 21 Pilots? Yeah, you would think if there's been 5 TikToks about it, I would know. I don't know anything about 21 Pilots. I told you I don't know anything about music anymore. I used to review music for a magazine. I used to be on the pulse. I used to know what I was talking about, but I don't know what 21 Pilots are. I don't know what Driving License by Olivia Rodrigo sounds like. I know these things exist, but I mean, I'm 30 years old. I don't listen to the radio. I listen to music regularly, but it's the same songs. Okay? I'm just listening to Gordon Lightfoot and Sufjan Stevens. And it's just the same 2 songs by them on a loop. And then occasionally I'll watch a banjo tutorial. And that is the music that I listen to nowadays. Or Joanna Newsom. No, I am. It is canon that I love Joanna Newsom. I listen to a lot of Joanna Newsom. No, I haven't heard the new ones yet. No. But I will. Oh yeah, no. Oh yeah, I misspoke. I mean, I meant to say I'm 19. I'm sorry. I meant to say I'm 19. They're getting sued. Yeah, Pete and Baz are the only good UK celebrities. That's true. No, I didn't know. Are they being sued for there being too many pilots? My thoughts on the McElroy brothers. Okay. I really like the McElroys. Okay. I'm gonna start by saying that. I like them. I think that they have an honest and earnest desire to spread joy in a less obnoxious way than other people who have that drive. There's a lot of what do you call it? Like hostile positivity. I don't know. There is a good term for it, but I can't think of it. But you know, that really kind of aggressive, like you have to be happy about everything. You're not allowed to dislike anything. Is like poptimism, like taken way too far. But I don't think they're like that. I think they're just like, they seem like nice guys. Yeah, toxic positivity, exactly. Yeah, the McElroys seem like nice guys who love each other, and they they do misstep sometimes, but they also like, I don't think when they've been called out for stuff they've ever argued against it. Like they're uncancelable in the sense that when they do say things that aren't right, like recently there was some scandal because they made fun of the word mukbang. They were making fun of how goofy that sounds on one of their podcasts, and people were calling them out, being like, well, it's just not an English word. You're just making fun of like this other culture, this other language. And they they just went on and gave an honest apology on Twitter for it, and that was cool. Bean Dad used to do the theme tune for their podcast, and as soon as the Bean Dad stuff came out and it surfaced all the old tweets and the old shit that he was refusing to apologize for, that he was doubling down on, they stripped him out. They'd been like friends with him, had him at live shows, had him on their show a bunch of times for like the last 10 years. And as soon as he was revealed as a piece of shit, they genuinely just cut him out of their ecosystem, which is a cool thing to do. It's a bold thing to do. Not a lot of people do it. It's just me and the McElroys who are willing to cut people out of their lives, even if it creates drama. That's just how we are. That's how we're built. Having said all that, again, I think that they are a bit milquetoast, and I get that, a lot of people don't like them because they think they are a bit kind of middle of the road. They're a bit gentle. They've got this big platform, and they do try and use it to do good things and to say nice things and to be supportive. Like they have always been very, very inclusive, very progressive. But yeah, they don't go far. They could go further. They could go further. I don't know. I know that it seems hypocritical of me to not put them up against the wall for that reason, when I've already destroyed Chapo with my logic, and I've already threatened to allegedly kill Skrillex for the same thing. But I think they're trying as hard as they can. I think having grown up in the world that they have, and having the platform that they have, and they've never seemed to develop any kind of ego or anything about it. They seem just like genuinely cool guys. So yeah, I like them, and I agree. The new theme tune is cool. I haven't listened to their podcast in a while. I listened to an episode the other day for the first time in quite a while, and so I've only heard the theme tune once, but I liked it. I enjoyed it. Oh really? Does he suck? I'll be honest, when I used to listen to their podcast more regularly, I did start to skip the live episodes because there was a time when they were all really busy or like on paternity, and they just kept releasing lives, and it's just not quite as good as the pre-produced. So I just stopped listening to the lives after a while. So I can't say I've heard every time what's his face, John Roderick, has performed it. But yeah, I mean, good for them. Good for them. They're trying their hardest, I think, and they'll probably get better with age. I don't think they're going to become more conservative with age. I don't think they're going to settle in. By the time you went to tour Biosphere 2, and the tour guide implied someone should assassinate a politician so nothing phases me anymore. Is that true? What's Biosphere 2? That's a great story. I don't know what that is, but that is a good story. Have I heard Elvis? Yeah, I've heard Elvis. I watched Lilo and Stitch for the first time the other day. So I've now heard Elvis and seen Lilo and Stitch. So I am on top of pop culture. As a 19-year-old, I'm killing it. I'm crushing it. Oh, there is? Tell me, Seth, tell me. Tell me about Biosphere. Oh, the chat looks different. Oh, no, yeah, I remember. I'm just looking at my OBS and thinking, oh, that looks different than I remembered it being. But I remembered what I did. I did shift some things around. Yeah, there's some oh, you're gonna make me click links. You're gonna make me click links, are you? We're almost at time, gentlemen, please. Which is another thing that people say in England. They used to say that when the pubs shut. That's a lesson for you. Dare I click it? Dare I click it? I'll click it afterwards. We'll chat about it in the Discord. That's a plug for anyone who's not in the Discord to join the Discord. Right, get in your last celebrities that you want me to rank. This was a good writing session, guys. Oh yeah, no, Seth, I know we talked about it before. I'm going to have you on. Maybe we'll do another late mic and you can be my Andy Richter. And I don't know who the guest is going to be. Who wants to be the guest? Sheeta, you're a famous musician. The Goosebumps kid. Yeah, what happened to the Goosebumps kid? Well, obviously I know that they're still around. They're still cool. They're still alive because they did the theme tune for this show. Yeah, Synth can be a guest. Sheeta, yes, please be a guest. Finally, after so many months of me not replying to you about us having a collab, we'll do it. We'll do it this way. We'll do it the easy way. Do it the boring way. Yeah, I should get the Goosebumps kid on the show. I reckon the Goosebumps kid is probably a narco syndicalist at this point. No, I'm worried about it, Sheeta, because every day, honestly, I think about it. I've got so many ideas about the thing that we were bouncing around that I keep meaning to send you. I've got so many. Honestly, I've got so many ideas about it. We'll do it. It'll be a very special event. It'll happen. Be my guest. Okay. Beauty is absolutely a Republican. You think because she seems like she grew up poor, but she's like one of those new money who forgets where they came from. She's a Michael Caine. She's a Michael Caine, basically. Belle is Michael Caine. Michael Caine grew up as a Barnardo's child, which if you don't know what that is, it's like this. It's this charity. It's like an orphanage, like the most famous orphan charity in England. It's this big shelter for kids, and he grew up as a Barnardo's kid, as they're called. Absolutely nothing in his childhood. Grew up tough, grew up really tough. And now, like I said, he lives in a tax haven. He's a Tory. He thinks all kids should be sent to war. He just became, he's a fuck you, I got mine kind of guy. And so is Belle. Belle absolutely married into royalty, and forgot where she came from. Absolutely forgot where she came from. And so naturally, I guess that means the Beast is the same way. But I don't know. There's something about the Beast. I think the Beast is probably a class traitor. I think the Beast grew up in the aristocracy, and having lived as a bear or whatever for so long, he's seen how the other half live. How hard it is. And I reckon once he transformed back, it's like they swapped class statuses, basically. I think he would then dedicate his life to bettering things, and she would flip completely. Beauty and a bear. I don't know. What is the Beast? Yeah, he was in a giant mansion that was like falling apart because all his servants got turned into Ottomans. That's tough. The Candlestick Man, Lumiere. He I don't know. He's institutionalized, man. He lived to serve. He only lives to serve. His brain is broken. I don't know. Yeah, post transformation. I mean, that's hard to break out of. It's hard to break out of, isn't it? I think probably once upon a time, if he had stayed human, I reckon he would have been a union man. I reckon he would have organized. He would have got the staff, the support that they needed. But I think having gone through that trauma, it's not his fault. Like, I don't blame him. Like, you can only do so much to a man. His spirit and his spine were broken, in the process of being turned into a candle man. And I don't know, it's hard. It's like, people, lifers who get let out of prison. They spent 30 years in isolation. How do you acclimatize to the outside world? How do you do it? Gaston, I don't know. Gaston is obviously on the right. It's just what specific sect of the right, I think, because he's a hunter. Obviously, he's definitely a capitalist, isn't he? He just loves money and women and power. He's like he's like Scarface mixed with Brian Ferry. Absolutely. I don't know. I think he might be an objectivist as well. I don't know. Maybe it's not Reznor I'm thinking about. Maybe it's Gaston. Maybe I'm thinking about Gaston. He's the Randian. He read The Fountainhead and never read another book after that. I think that's the way it is. Hey, Scarface Soprano. Hey, I'm Scarface. Hey, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. He's a big Stones fan. So that's it. I think that's it for the show. I think that's a good note to end on. So thanks for coming out. Thanks for helping me write this chapter of Goosebumps. Thanks for helping me write this chapter of Goosebumps, guys. We should write one word. What's that one word gonna be? Get it in quick. Get it in quick. I'm so proud of us. I am so proud of us. Beckham, love it. You got in first. You know this is a first come, first served. It's just like my favourite electoral system. First past the post. Beckham. There we go. It is all about celebrity culture, which, as we've established, is the bumpiest goose of them all. So, thanks, guys. Hey, Craig's still here, everyone. Craig woke up from his whitey. Yeah, Bend It Like Beckham is a good movie. I was thinking about that movie the other day because I was thinking about ER, and the girl from Bend It Like Beckham became a regular on ER long after people stopped watching it. But before it was cancelled. Did we establish who the laugh is? Is that Sheeta at the end? Anyway, thanks for coming out, everybody. Thanks for helping me write my best-selling novel, our best-selling novel. I'm going to put all of your names on that. They should. I think they made a stage show of Bend It Like Beckham. I'm sure they've made a West End musical. Everything's a musical. Oh, you know how the laugh is? Well, don't bother telling me. Don't do me any favors. Yeah, they should make a TV show. They should make like a Saturday morning cartoon of Bend It Like Beckham, where they go on like space adventures and stuff. Each week they have to fight like the Monstars from Space Jam at soccer, at association football, as we like to call it. So thank you again. Thanks for coming out. I don't know what we've got coming up. I think we've got a fantasy flight coming up later. I think so. I don't know if we've got a warp zone as well. I think we've got a warp zone. But either way, there's always something good on Cable 2, only on, always on. I want my Cable 2. Remember, as always, to be kind to every version of yourself. Till next week, I love you. And now I'm going to leave you. Goodbye.